Hello, beautiful souls. It's Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. Today, we are going to go through a presentation on the astrology of 3I-ATLAS. As far as I know, there is no other presentation on the internet about this. Most of the hype around 3I-ATLAS is its unusual astronomical characteristics and speculation as to its origin and intent. We can speculate all day here on that. Today, I would just want to bring you its actual location in the actual sky and bring you the astrology that I think is important for understanding this object from an energetic, spiritual, and cosmic perspective. So stay tuned. I'm Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. Like I said, I consider it my most profound and ancient responsibility to bring you this. This is the purpose of astrology, to notice things in the sky and to bring meaning to it. Now, you may not agree with what I interpret from this, but it's here as my opinion and as my interpretation, and I offer it to you in that way. Before I get started, I just want to wish you all a magical, wonderful day. I hope you guys are living your best life. There's a lot of exciting things coming. There's a lot of things shifting under the surface. Those of you that are sensitive and intuitive can feel that. So, what I thought I would do is before I even get into what I want to talk about in terms of the astrology and the timeline of 3I-ATLAS, I want to explain to you why it's interested me so much. So, we'll get into a little bit of that. Recently, this past year, I published a book called The 13th Sign, Ophiuchus, and the astrology they don't want you to see. And in that book, I outline a new cosmology that helps us understand our human souls from a galactic perspective. So, the journey that we typically take when we're looking at the hero's journey, when we're looking at the tropical astrology wheels, we follow the seasons and we take the hero's journey starting in Aries and we move clockwise around the zodiac, pulling in the karma from each sign and each planet that we bump into. Whereas this journey, the cosmic healer's journey, moves in reverse. It moves clockwise. It starts in the space of the fallen angels, where the stars of Scorpio are in the sky, right there at the Galactic Center in the Milky Way. The soul comes down here into the first death and separates from source. So I'm going to go through that story with you. It ends in Ophiuchus. And then we'll go into the timeline, because the origin of 3I-ATLAS is the Galactic Center, and it's moving clockwise on our zodiac wheel, and I'll show you how we know that. So a lot of really good information in this presentation. We'll probably be here about an hour. I appreciate you for joining me. For those of you new to my channel, we do constellational astrology here, meaning we look at the actual sky, we look at the actual constellations, and we read the energy in a modern astrological framework. So it's not Vedic. We're not using lunar mansions. We're just looking at where this actual interstellar object is, and what its intentions might be here, and how we as humans are to consider it and to deal with it. So what I will do next, let me just knock off a few announcements real quick, and I promise you I won't bother you with anything else. If you are not already part of the Fellowship of 13 Sign Astrology on Facebook, go there. The link is below. You can join that for free and get into our conversations. There's a new software out there that Athen Comenti of Mastering the Zodiac has produced. It's a web-based, very simple, very graphical, very easy to use program for those of you interested in learning how to track the stars using astrology. The chart animates forward and backward. You can put any date you want. You can save some of your session charts. There is a monthly subscription fee, but you can try it out for free for $7. That link is also below. And then, of course, there is the International Sidereal Astrology Association launch event that is happening on September 27th. I'm one of the keynote speakers. It's free registration to join that event. So I will put that link below as well. And as always, we're kicking off Stellar Foundations in just a week and a half. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to take the new group of students through this 13 journey that I'm literally 13-week journey, 13-gate journey that I'm going to describe to you in this video. So I appreciate you all for sticking with me. I will share my screen now. Okay, friends, what you're looking at here is a map of the night sky. And on this side, you will see the constellations of of Ophiuchus, the star Antares, which is Scorpio. You see Libra, you see Virgo, you see Leo and Gemini. And what this is a map, a timestamp date of the projected path of 3I-ATLAS. One of the many unique qualities about this object is its parallel nature to our sun's ecliptic. This is why we care about this in astrology, because this path that it's tracing out here is our sun's ecliptic. It is our zodiac. And it's a very unique opportunity to take this object and pull it through these archetypes and see what comes through for us. And the other thing that you'll notice is that its origin was the Galactic Center right here above Sagittarius, and that its path goes retrograde or clockwise, as you'll see in a moment on a chart, through these constellations. And like I said in the intro, the book I published last spring, The 13th Sign, Ophiuchus and the Astrology They Don't Want You to See, literally describes a new hero's journey, a cosmic healer's journey from Scorpio through these constellations all the way around and ending in Ophiuchus. In other words, what we consider in this cosmology is that this is the gateway. This is the portal into our energetic stellosphere. And indeed, whenever an ecliptic crosses another ecliptic, the galactic plane with the solar system plane, that crossroads is a node. It's a portal. Just like our lunar nodes, Rahu and Ketu, are the crossing point of the moon's ecliptic with the solar system ecliptic. Okay, they're not actual points in the sky, but they're very important to us. That's why we have eclipses. And so when energy comes from, passes through, enters into this space, it's very profound, it's very powerful. And here we have this object coming from somewhere very far away, very unknown, foreign, not of our solar system, through the cloud of the Galactic Center and into our sphere, into the very nucleus, into the very heart of our solar system. So we're going to walk that journey. We're going to go through this whole thing. But before I did that, I wanted to share with you, for those of you that are not familiar with the cosmic hero's journey, why the path of this particular object, 3I-ATLAS, resonated with me so much. And so if you'll indulge me for just a few minutes here as I go through this, then I will walk you through the path of 3I-ATLAS. And I think this will hopefully blow your mind the way it did mine. And so I've reiterated to you that when we think about the tropical zodiac wheel, we always consider it counterclockwise. In other words, the first house is on the ascendant and we move counterclockwise on that chart. And that journey is the hero's journey. And it starts in Aries. It's, the beginning, the initiator. But that's when we finally realize we're alive. The journey of the cosmic healer is a soul whose journey begins the moment they enter this realm, the moment they separate from source, and it ends when we ascend back into that space, evolved, changed, and forever individuated through the experiences that we have here. So imagine you're an immortal soul in the oneness with the Creator. You and your Creator's self wish to embody and experience your co-creation as a third dimensional human. So the process begins with a thought form, literally an idea. Let's become man. And we descend. We are the fallen angels. And that separation is the first death. We still have all the memories of our connection with Source. We know where we've come from. We know what we want to do, where we want to go, and how we want to accomplish it. And this is such a liminal space for a soul that is unembodied, yet still connected to Source. So there's a number of factors that depend on how time is experienced here. 100 years there might be 1 year here, and vice versa. Time is not linear in this space. And so we start in Scorpio, our first death is here, and then we move towards embodiment. But the first step before that is to take into account all of your previous incarnations. Is there any unresolved karma? And this is Libra energy. This is where Comet 3I-ATLAS entered 2 days ago. And I wanted to do this video earlier, except there's been so many new updates as to the nature of it and its path that I think you'll find very interesting. So here in Libra, the soul is not embodied, but they look upon their book of life. What do they want to accomplish in this next incarnation? What karma needs to be resolved? Here in this space, you can visit your new parents, your new family members. You can visit with other souls that are sort of in that liminal space with you. And once you have your star chart picked out, once you have your time and date of your birth picked out, then you begin the incarnation process, which for every single human starts with a gestation. And that is Virgo. So the conception point is moving clockwise through the gates of Libra into the flesh embodiment by way of human conception. And Virgo is such an intelligent energy. It has all the blueprints of the universe and the coding and how things are built simply through thought. Your soul can still come and go from this body into the astral plane to communicate with future family members and others you'll meet along your way. There's also some energy in here. I go into in the book about, when life ends here, what does that mean for the cosmic healer's journey? And, that's pretty heavy and that takes some time to think about, but just consider this next step. The soul descends, the soul goes through its karmic book of life and then chooses its human incarnation by way of gestation through the energy of Virgo. Then you're born, and in Leo, you are the child, the innocent, the young, the one who still has his or her abilities to see souls, to manipulate space and time. You still have all of those abilities as a young child, and you have no programming to not use it. So again, I do go into the book in a little bit about what happens when life ends here and what that means, because this is such an innocent energy. And it's always heartbreaking when a young life passes away. But Leo is the childhood. It's the childhood part of our existence as a human. And then we get emotionally imprinted through the energy of Cancer. Remember, these are phases, these are circles within circles. But Cancer is our second death. It's when the veil drops and we literally have to feel our way around almost blindly, where we look to others to reflect back to us what it is we should be feeling. And so this is where our deepest memories are first encoded. And it's also your source of intuition. So this is a very interesting space for development. It's usually like after age 4 or 5 years old, you are completely focused on the real world and the emotional connections that you're making to people around you. Then comes your education or your programming. Okay. And this comes from the people around you, your elders, your teachers, television, whatever it is you're watching, the information that you're learning. This is where the most effective imprinting occurs. And these programs are important. Like some of them are, teach us how to be kind souls and how the world works down here and all those things that we need to learn. But many times through institutional schooling and things like that, people are programmed inappropriately for certain things. And the reason that it's done so young is because it's the hardest to unprogram. So if you've got any loops, any weird limiting beliefs in your life, Gemini is the spot to look, or your third house. So this is a space where we get programmed, where our mind gets programmed in order to function here. And then in Taurus, we get to taste and touch and feel and savor. And it's our first sexual experience. And it's the first time we get drunk. And it's the first time we laugh with friends and we're independent and we're free to figure out what we want to do. And this can be after our schooling phase. This is usually when we decide to partner, when we decide to have children, what kind of work we want to do. All of this happens in Taurus energy. What do we value? What is our talents worth to us in this lifetime? And this is where we decide this in Taurus. Then in Aries, we know ourselves. We're ready to conquer the world because we've gotten our emotional imprinting. We've gotten our mental programming. We've been able to taste and touch and feel with some freedom and impunity. And now we know who we are and what we want. But in the Aries energy, there's a nagging feeling that there's something bigger. There's always a seed that's planted here, and that seed has consequences. It grows, something results from that seed. And when the leaves reach the edge of the soil and the open air, this is when we realize that there's so much more and there's so much deeper, and everything that we were taught is wrong or untrue. And this is the dark night of the soul, or the Great Awakening. Some people don't go through a depression, but a lot of times you get woken up by something sudden, something unexpected, something that you thought would go a certain way. And this is Pisces energy. This is where we lose our faith, but this is also where we can return to faith. There's a duality here where we have to understand that there is dark, and without dark, we can't have light. And we learn all those esoteric and hermetic teachings, and we awaken and we go through that process. And it's not easy. And it's a lot of times very solitary. This process is done without, too much public fanfare, but it can be a very soft, very loving energy. So once we go through this, then we connect with our soul tribe in our Aquarius phase of our life. And those are the people that we've gone through many incarnations with. And sometimes they're your family members, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes Pisces teaches you that you have to abandon your original human family in order to really thrive and grow in your soul tribe that you came here to be with. And that's a different journey for everybody. But this is where Aquarius plays into that. You meet other people that are doing the same things that you are doing. I think I'm leaving the Pisces phase and entering the Aquarius phase of my life at the moment, because I'm meeting other souls that are resonating where I'm at, are doing the same types of things that I'm doing, and coming up with similar yet very different, very unique and creative ways of looking at the world and moving through it. So once you pass through Aquarius, then you build with your soul tribe. This is Capricorn energy. This is achieving the dream that you and your soul family came here to achieve. And what's so funny is that the joke, it ends with heaven on earth, with knowing that, you've had this power all along to create the perfect world around you, to create heaven on earth. It reminds me of Dorothy's journey through Oz, where she, got the red slippers at the beginning of her journey, but then realized at the end that she had the power to click her heels 3 times and go home at any time. And this is the conscious death. This is the death that we remember. That's what we're heading to when we're in Sagittarius, because we realize how connected we are to Creator, how much power we have while we're here, how much the universe has our back. It's literally the heaven on earth phase. And some of us get there quicker than others. And then Ophiuchus is the ascension. It's the conscious death. It's the choosing to leave. And when you come here and awaken in the physical body, you get that choice. And this part of the journey is what's left out in our tropical heroes journey. This is what I endeavor to merge back into astrology by also using astronomy and using the actual sky. My North Node is in Ophiuchus, in my 7th house. I am the mirror of this. And so while the journey that I'm describing may not be popular, to me, it rings so true, because this is the journey I'm on. And this is probably my last lap here that is required. I may come back on purpose. I may come back to help others, but this is what I've come to awaken and I've come to know. And so my intention for my death is for it to be a joyous reemergence with spirit, in full memory of everything that I experienced here as a physical human. So this is the journey. This is the cosmic hero's journey. This is if you feel like you're on your last incarnation, that you woke up while you were here. Some of you already have been here and have gone through this process, and you have come back by choice. Maybe you don't remember this journey, but if you're one of those people, this journey probably awakens some kind of remembering in you. And when it does, it's stunning. It literally pulls you out of your haze and out of your illusion and shows you your purpose here. And then it's almost as if reality conforms to your desires, because your desires are now aligned with your cosmic purpose. So I'll get off my soapbox about that, but that's the journey that this comet, this object 3I-ATLAS, is taking. So what I'd like to do now is share with you some of the resources I've been looking at in order to get a better understanding of this object. Currently, at the moment, 3I-ATLAS is at the very beginning of Libra. So we're right here. And I'll show you that, and I'll show you where you can verify that. But this is just such an amazing thing. And I think it's the astrologer's job to connect with the astronomy and report back to the people what this may mean. It may mean nothing to you, but it's certainly pulling in a lot of synchronicities for me. So what I'd like to do now is show you what the model is that astronomers are using Now, you guys may have a flat Earth or a concave or convex view of the Earth, but this model works for predictions of movements in the sky. It works really well. It's literally tied into rocket science. If someone can provide me a better model that explains the movement of these bodies that we observe here on Earth, I would gladly accept it. But we're going to use this one for now. And so what I'd like to do is show you this. This is the skylive.com 3D solar system. And what we've done is we've zoomed out. And this body right here is 3I-ATLAS. And we are currently at the date of August 27th of 2025. Back this up a few months to the suspected origin of this comet. Now, it wasn't actually detected by any of our telescopes or recognized until July 1st of 2025. But retrospective studies on other telescopes have also located it and confirmed that indeed its origin is from this space in the Galactic Center. You can see this behind the solar system. So if we back this up a little bit to, let's say, May, and we look at this comet from Earth's perspective, let's go to July when it was first noticed. July 1st was the first, oh, hey, there's something there. And what we're going to do is zoom in to the orb of Earth, and we're going to look at this comet from this perspective. And hopefully you can see this, what's beyond the comet. It's the heart of our Milky Way galaxy. It is the center. It is this enormous cloud of gas and dust encircling a singularity of light and gravity that destroys and creates. And it came from there. It came from there. When you look at this image, this is where it was noticed even on retrospective studies. So here we are looking at this thing, and it is in the constellation of Serpent, the serpent that Ophiuchus is holding. And I can show you the claws of Scorpio right here. You see these in the background. And then here is star Antares right here. So this was in July. Let me advance now to where we are. We're in August now, August 26th. And you can see, if we back up a little bit and get back on Earth, that from our perspective, if we look to the background stars, it is now no longer in Scorpio, it's now in Libra. And as we follow the comet's trajectory, you'll see some very interesting things. We'll just go day by day here, but a little quickly. So the planets orbit in their usual fashion, but from our perspective, this comet is going in a retrograde orbit. So with respect to Mars, Venus, Mercury, it's going in the opposite direction. So in the sky, it is traveling the clockwise journey of the cosmic healer. It's doing it. It starts in Scorpio, enters Libra. It's in that hall of records right now. And in the end of September, right around the eclipse, it will actually move into Virgo. It will make a conjunction with Mars. And so we're going to read all of that energy. But I wanted to just show you what this looks like from a stellar perspective. This is what the astronomers are looking at. And so as we continue forward, the transit into our deeper solar system. Look at how close it's going to get to Mars. At this point, we won't even be able to see it anymore with any of our telescopes. What we have to do is actually get the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to focus its aperture on this body. It's almost 3 times the size of the Earth, the coma around this comet. So if Mars were able to get a view of this thing, it would be enormous. It would be huge. They would be able to find out all kinds of interesting things about it. You know, I mean, forget all the speculation as to what its origin is and what its purpose is. It's what is it doing here? What is it made of? Those are the really hot, interesting questions in my mind. So what will happen over the course of the next several months and through the winter and into next year is that the comet will keep moving. It has a hyperbolic orbit. It will swing by Venus within 2 astronomical units. And then this is the closest Earth will get to it, right around here. And then it will be on its way out of the solar system. And in March of next year, the comet will be in approach to Jupiter. And what's so interesting about this is because of where Jupiter is and where the comet's exiting, it's exiting at the other side of the galactic bands. So this band of Milky Way that you see here, this stretches from Ophiuchus all the way over to the boundary between Taurus and Gemini. And that's precisely where that comet is going as it heads out of the solar system. So very interesting to see all of this. And I'm going to show you snapshots from this so we can see where we are in real time. And then when we look at stellarium, it's right here in the sky in Libra. So if you were to rely on a tropical astrologer to tell you where this comet is, they're going to tell you it's in Scorpio, but it's not. They're going to tell you that the conjunction of it with Mars will be in Libra, when it's not. It's happening right over here in Virgo. And so I think this is also a unique opportunity to encourage everyone to look up at the sky to do your astrology. This is why we are out of sync with everything that's going on. This is why we feel like timelines are collapsing. This is why we feel like we don't resonate with certain things that are going on anymore. It's because we're not in sync with the as above. So a couple of sources for you that I would love for y'all to check out if you want to watch this, the path of this comet with me, is this character here. Tiago is his name. He's in Portugal, and Dobsonian power. Dobsonian is a type of telescope, and he has a couple different telescopes. And every afternoon, which is his nighttime, he's going live and he's zooming in and doing real pictures of this object, which is why I know precisely where it is, because he uses stellarium to orient his telescope in the right direction. And today's broadcast had the comet right here in these stars. Okay, so definitely check out his channel. He's growing by leaps and bounds because of what he's doing. He's very entertaining. I never thought watching somebody fix their telescope would be as entertaining as this guy. So I encourage you all to check him out. His link's below. And then another person that you will want to follow for continued updates that feel sort of real, rational. He believes it's might be extraterrestrial, but he's willing to sort of hear all the evidence. He has some great videos on 3I-ATLAS. So I will also leave his link below if you want to dive in more about the astronomy of this energy. What I want to do now is get into what you came for, and that is the astrology of 3I-ATLAS. What you are looking at here is an astrological chart pulled from truesky.masteringthezodiac.com. This is where you guys can go to get these amazing charts. Subscribe for the software, and you can use it online on any system, Mac, PC, whatever, phone, tablet, computer. It's amazing. And you just put the data in and you click calculate and you get your wheel, and then you can animate it. So if I want to go day by day on this wheel, like we did with the sky, I can do that here. So this comet is right in here on this chart. I don't have a way to add that point, but just in your mind's eye, when we were looking at the sky and we were looking between Scorpio and Libra, this is the precise location of that comet. And over the next several months, it's going to move through Libra, through Virgo, into Leo, into Cancer, and then it's going to exit out the solar system. So basically crossing that galactic ecliptic node that I was talking about earlier. All right. So just so you guys can orient yourselves to see a chart, let's get into this timeline. This is so fascinating. So I titled this The Cosmic Space Bulletin. I might give it a different title, but that's what it is as I'm recording this. Let's just get into the basics of this. Where did this interstellar object come from? It came from constellation Sagittarius. And I pointed to that space in the sky. It's actually Serpens and Sagittarius. If you go to the upper bounds of Sagittarius, you're going to have the tail of Serpens right there. And between the tail of Serpens and the head of Serpens, which is on the other side of Ophiuchus, is the constellation of Ophiuchus and the Galactic Center. There's a lot of really interesting things about it that I'll let you get into if you want to watch those channels, about its size, about its composition, about where it came from. It's all very odd. It's only the third object that we've ever noticed that's come from interstellar space. This could mean that our ability to track them has increased, or we're moving into an area of interstellar space that has a lot more of these objects. Right now, the size can't really be determined. Some estimate as big as 5 meters, some estimate as big as 31 miles, because they just don't know what it's made of. It's too difficult to see, and it's not behaving the way a normal comet would. So to call it a comet may be premature. It may be just a large asteroid, a random planetoid. Who knows? When it gets close enough to figure that out, we won't be able to see it unless the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter points its eyeballs at it. Now, when they discovered it, I thought this was super synchronistic as it was traveling at 137 miles per hour. And we know that this is the fine structure constant. So I just think that's so very interesting that that number popped up. It's not random. When you look at the shape and the model of the solar system, it's very similar to what we might model for an atom, with the sun being the nucleus and the planets being the electron orbital shells with certain levels of energy. And the fine structure constant comes from studying these orbitals in atoms and the energy that it either reflects, absorbs, or emits. And this constant comes up a lot. So I just think that's so interesting that this interstellar visitor, this packet of energy coming from elsewhere, from outside of our solar atom, is coming in at this speed. And we are here to determine whether we absorb it, reflect it, or emit our own energy. There's absolutely no danger of this object hitting Earth. So I'm not here to do any fear porn or anything like that. I don't really want to scare you. I just want to talk esoterically about this object because as an astrologer, like I said, I think that that is my ancient duty to do so. So ATLAS stands for the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, meaning this is the oh shit alarm. And when these telescopes pick up anomalous objects, it's a network all around the world. And one of them picked up 3I-ATLAS, and all eyes were on the skies after that. So the word atlas is no coincidence either. The reason we name things what they are isn't a coincidence. It's meant to be named what it is. And so I thought it might be fun to start this by just examining the mythology of Atlas. Atlas was a titan condemned by Zeus to hold up the heavens at the edge of the world. So this is an archetype of endurance, burden, and cosmic guardianship. And it makes sense to name this network of telescopes. It's our cosmic guardian. It's basically looking into the skies and alerting us when something big and something interesting is coming our way. Zeus condemned a lot of the gods, a lot of the angels to do certain things. So you can put Atlas in the same category as Chiron, as Prometheus, who's condemned to have his entrails pecked out by carrion for eternity. And then Chiron had a wound that wouldn't heal. So it's this burden of eternity almost, holding up the heavens at the edge of the world. All right. There is some more mythology. There is a star in the cluster of the Pleiades, also called Atlas. And I find that this is very interesting for a number of reasons. Atlas was the father of the Pleiades and the Hyades, linking him to stellar ancestry. So the brightest star in the Pleiades cluster, 27 Tauri, is Atlas. This is not 27 Gemini, which is where tropical astrology would have this cluster. This is the bearer of the cosmos and the transmitter of stellar seed. So I want you to really let that sink in right now. The transmitter of stellar seed. There's another interesting alignment right now with the Pleiades. So it's interesting that the word Atlas would bring this cluster up. Uranus is sitting right there in the constellation of Taurus next to the Pleiades with his supermassive antenna pointed towards the cosmos. And Uranus is just kind of hanging back in Taurus, watching the movement of this energy through our solar system. There shouldn't be any contact with it, as far as I know. So this is a picture from Stellarium. This was taken yesterday, and this is the constellation of Taurus with the Pleiades right there and Uranus right there. And this is our ecliptic band. So just to show you that there's a connection here with Uranian energy. And what does that mean? That means it's something unusual, something different, something we've never seen before. Atlas Telescope, named after the burden of the cosmic guardianship. So we have a modern sky. We have the bearer scanning the heavens. And 3I stands for the third interstellar object. So that's where the name of this comet comes from, or this object, I should say. And this is the location of where you will find the origin of 3I-ATLAS, right here in the tail of serpents. And right here is Ophiuchus. This is where Ophiuchus sits. So holding up the snake. Asclepius, the god of medicine. So there's some kind of benefic, paradoxical healing energy, which it is the serpent archetype. There's a dark wisdom here, a healing and a transformation that I think the cosmos is asking us to go through. Hopefully you guys can see my mouse. Someone left a comment that I needed to make my mouse a little bit bigger. So I did that, and hopefully that's helpful to you. So for the serpent, a lot of its cosmology, a lot of its esoteric energy is the symbol of Kundalini energy, which is that liquid light, that light of spirit that moves through your body, because you are not just body, you are not just soul, you're a combination of both. And that chi, that prana, that life force that flows through you is the serpent. And so I really feel like because of where this comet came from, or this object, it ties to rebirth and immortality. The way a serpent sheds its skin, the way we transform, the way we change, the way we accept new information. I'm also seeing this as a cosmic fertilization, the way the sperm might enter the egg and only one is allowed to enter. One is allowed to be the bringer of the new DNA in order for life to begin. And it just so aligns with the cosmic healer's journey that it's literally blowing my mind. Here's the star field where the object was first located, in the Eagle Nebula. And these are the pillars of creation, which link to serpent wisdom of cosmic creation. This is where stars are born. So it's as if this object is bringing to us the knowledge of stellar rebirth. I think it's so beautiful. What does that mean for us here on Earth? Well, as we get into the timeline, that might be more clear. So here we have the two together. We have Atlas, the Titan, the sky bearer, and the father of stellar seeds. Serpens, the serpent of wisdom, held in the hands of Ophiuchus, and together they form the mythic stage for 3I-ATLAS. So Atlas reveals itself as the comic seed. The serpent channels its healing and galactic transmission. And then we have a union of cosmic burden, wisdom, and activation. So for you star seeds, there may be some type of amazing activation with this comet entering our space. I don't think it's a harbinger of doom. It's untrustworthy at the moment, because when you don't know about something, conspiracy theories abound, but at the same time, it still energetically feels like something we can tune into that is of higher frequency. So let's get into this timeline and the astrology. We'll start from the discovery of 3I-ATLAS on July 1st to present day, and then we will go into what the future timeline might look like. So the first important date in its timeline is July 1st, 2025, discovered in the upper bounds of Sagittarius, the tail of serpents, which is in the hands of Ophiuchus. And the first telescope to discover it was the Atlas in Chile, and they noticed it near the Galactic Center. So the energy of this feels like seed from beyond pierces the veil of Sagittarius and serpents and enters our solar system. Here's what it looked like, the raw image. And these are the stars of serpents. And here is the Eagle Nebula. And that is the object. You can go to wikipedia.com for animated versions of this, but I just wanted to show you how crowded and how bright this star field is and how impossible this might have been able to be seen. I mean, it might have just snuck up on us if we didn't have these deep space telescopes to be able to notice these objects. And so here it is, the day of its discovery. I just showed you that in real time on theskylive.com. And you can see that from the Earth's perspective, this first glimpse of this object is right here in these clouds around the galactic disk. And right here on the sky is where it was found, right within this yellow space. So the upper bounds of Sagittarius, right in this space, this is our ecliptic here, is the emergence of 3I-ATLAS. On July 21st of 2025, the Hubble Space Telescope observed this object and sent us a bunch of images, which I'll show you. So it captured the sharpest images of 3I-ATLAS, showing a teardrop-shaped dust cocoon with hints of a dust tail. And this is where the lower bounds of its size are estimated. And the reason they say that is because of the way it looked. They assumed that most of its mass was coming from its coma. But since then, there's been many other discoveries in the short timeline between July 21st and now. Even today, new information came out from James Webb's telescope. So when the Hubble began its observation, it began to bring this object into our collective awareness. So it's like a reveal. Like there's a relational clarity framing the comet's essence. It's a glyph of its own. The glyph of its form steps into light. So we actually get to see it and make associations with what it might look like. And here's that image. The weird thing about it, and again, you'll find out the weird characteristics of it if you want to look up the work of Avi Loeb. This tail, this teardrop energy should be pointing away from the sun, but it's not. It's pointing towards it. Comets don't usually do that. And so another strange thing about this object, which makes it so fascinating and so interesting, and the fact that it's following the cosmic healer's journey. And so this is July 21st. You can see it has moved, at least from Earth's perspective, Earth's vantage point, from this space in the sky to here, which is Scorpio. And you can see that on here. So it moved from here to here in those 3 weeks. And there were telescopes watching it. On August 6th, and this slide's actually out of date as of this morning, August 6th of 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope observed 3I-ATLAS. Now, on telescopes like this, these scientists typically work out a deal with the government where they get first dibs on the data, and they have a 90-day embargo on any findings. Now, a lot of people were pissed that they were even holding on to it for as long as they did, because it was only 3 weeks. But they did release it early. The idea was that they were going to release it in November after it had already passed and after all the interesting things were figured out about it. But they released it early. And again, you can look up those. But what they found today with that, what they revealed is that this thing might be massive. It might be actually like 41 kilometers across, which is huge, way bigger than Oumuamua. Oumuamua was which was the first interstellar object they saw, was like the size of the Empire State Building. But this thing is, 1,000 times bigger. And so because we are able to now get even more data about this, there's more mystery about this thing. It's more like, well, what is this? Is it big? Is it small? What's actually coming out of it? What's its speed? What's its location? And if you follow the Dobsonian Power channel, you'll see it every day, because he's live streaming every night in Portugal to watch this thing before it disappears behind the sun. So here it is. This is August 6th when the JWST telescope was observing the comet. And here is its path in the sky from Earth's perspective, so you can see it moving. And I picked up Dobsonian Power when he started observing it right here about a week ago, and it's moved to right about here. So that's August 1st, which isn't that long ago. So it's it's moving through the sky. We have eyes on it. We're tracking it. And then just a few days ago, SPHEREx took some pictures of it and also said that it was vast. So it said that its coma cloud was 4 times the size of Earth, like half the time. JWST says it's like half the size of the sun, and says it's over 28 kilometers in size. There's also an interesting ratio of carbon to water and ice that is very unusual for objects that are considered comets. So here we go. Here is the 21st for the SPHEREx results. And here is when that data came. Here's when they took that picture. So you can see it's steady movement. It's moving at a pretty good velocity, 137 miles per hour. And now let's just take a minute and realize that we are here right now. This is where it's been located by amateur telescopes. This is where it's being observed in the sky by Hubble, by JWST, by SPHEREx. They're looking at it. They're watching it. And it is moving into, or is now inside of, the constellation of Libra. So it left this portal of the Galactic Center, this portal of death and rebirth and of ascension, and is now entering this hall of records, this Akashic portal where it gets to sort of like work out the karma, weigh its heart against the feather, if we're looking at it as a soul going along the cosmic journey, or even as a foreign seed coming in to fertilize our solar system. It has to go through this stage of balance, this stage of reckoning, and this will last for about 2 weeks. We'll have the full moon lunar eclipse during its transit through Libra. So let me read you what this Libra energy feels like for me. So it's retracing its steps from Scorpio into Libra. Scorpio is the gate of death and transformation. It's the realm of intensity and shadow, where what is hidden comes forward and what cannot survive is stripped away. The interstellar visitor entering here first stirs the unconscious and awakens ancestral memory of endings and rebirth. Now the comet is drifting into Libra, the constellation of balance, relationship, and cosmic scales. Libra asks for harmony after intensity. It is the place where opposites are brought together and weighed. The motion backwards into Libra is not regression, but revision. It is a pause for re-examination, a moment when the seed that has passed through the underworld turns back to consider balance and justice before it can continue its journey forward. This is cosmic arbitration, the galactic messengers holding court in Libra. What has been purged in Scorpio is now measured. What has been revealed in the shadow is brought into balance. This is the threshold where galactic healing begins, not through raw intensity, but through the restoration of harmony within the scales. So that's pretty deep. That's pretty intense, right? There it is, right here as I speak. So I want to get into from present until its exit of the solar system. So we'll get into the transits into the different constellations and the near misses that it makes with the rest of our solar system. So this is coming up. This will be our solar eclipse season, September 21st to the 23rd of 2025. The comet will enter the constellation of Virgo. This is invisible from Earth. We will not be able to notice this comet anymore. At least I don't think so. So the conception occurs. So remember, in the cosmic healer's journey, Virgo is the cosmic mother where the gestation occurs. And so this seed is literally entering the mother during this time frame. It enters the cosmic womb of embodiment. The comet has already carried us through Scorpio, the descent, the first death, and through Libra's weighing of karmic threads. And now it is Virgo's turn. So Virgo does not scatter the seed, she holds it. She weaves it into matter with care, aligning each strand of energy with sacred design. For an interstellar comet to pass through Virgo at this stage is a symbol of galactic gestation. The message it carries from beyond the solar system is not left as abstraction. Virgo insists that what is received must become tangible. This is where the myth becomes the medicine, where the pollen of another star system is woven into the fertile field of our solar system. This passage also highlights Virgo's discernment. Virgo's role is to sift, order, and decide what this galactic seed will do for us, what will remain, what will be embodied, and what will dissolve back into the cosmic current. This is where the code comes in. This is where the fine structure constant, phi, pi, square root of 3, 13, and 33 all come into play. So this is going to be a moment when our solar system becomes the womb of this galactic conception. The comet is held in the arms of the Virgin Mother, not as purity defined by absence, but as fertile intentionality, preparing to birth its message into light as it nears perihelion to the sun. So there's your comet in Virgo. There is when it begins, and you can see Mars is also in Virgo in the sky. This is from Earth's perspective again. And then October 3rd, we get a conjunction to Mars. So the comet will, from our perspective, be within 0.19 astronomical units of Mars. This is so close. This is hundreds of thousands of miles. This is like the comet will look like the moon looks to us, to the Mars Orbital Reconnaissance satellite, if it can get a picture of it. And so fingers crossed NASA does this because this will be an amazing view of something we've never seen before. And so the seed touches warrior fire and it sparks an ignition. This is October 3rd. This is when Mars will be in the same space. We're watching the sky, the real sky. There's no tropical zodiac here. These constellations are all different sizes. This is the perfect marriage of what I'm trying to do to bring astrology and astronomy together. So if you're loving this content, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you're lurking, share the video to your friends so that they can get this perspective if they're looking for it. It's not for everybody, but if it's something they want to explore with me, here it is. So here's what we'll see in the sky from Earth's perspective. I think I have a shot from, yes, this is stellarium. So here's Mars. The comet will be right here. Here's Mercury, here's Sun. So we won't be able to see this energy. If you go back a couple of slides, from Earth's perspective, it's, oops, I went too far. From Earth's perspective, the glare is too high. By the time we can actually see Mars, Mars is setting in the western sky. So the time limit for amateur astronomers to be able to see this thing is slowly fading. Their window is almost gone. All right, about a month later, during the late week of October, from the 20th to the 31st, the comet will experience perihelion, meaning it will be the closest to the sun. It's also happening on the other side of the sun from Earth's perspective. This is a solar conjunction, and it is conjunct Spica. So this is the closest approach to the sun at 1.36 astronomical units. Again, very close to the fine structure constant. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually 1.37 astronomical units. And this feels like a baptism in the fire, an underworld passage. This is the quickening phase of like a pregnancy, right? Where you know you're pregnant, but you can't tell. There's an energy stirring in the underworld here with this perihelion, this close passage to the sun. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here we are. There's Spica. The sun will be here. Here's what it looks like from space. There's the comet closest to the sun. After passing Mars a month previously, it's about to make its rendezvous with Venus and then head out of the solar system, giving a high five to Jupiter on its way out. And here's what that looks like. So here's Sun conjunct the comet 3I-ATLAS, or the interstellar object 3I-ATLAS. On November 3rd, right after this window of conjunction and perihelion, Venus will encounter, and I was assuming that this would be the James Webb Telescope release of their data, but this was sooner, so this, you can cross this out. Let me get my note taker here. This right here has already happened. It happened yesterday, so we're in good shape here. And we don't need to worry about this. Like I said, the information keeps changing, keeps updating. So who knows what tomorrow will bring us. The comet will still be unobservable from Earth, meaning we will not be able to see it. Eventually, it will emerge in the eastern sky before dawn. But this is like it's about to, I called it a double unveiling, but the Venus encounter will, because Venus will also be disappearing behind the sun. This should be very interesting energy because Venus is planting seeds during this time in her cycle. And it's almost as if this cosmic seed, this cosmic visitor, is meeting with the fertile ground of Venus and her creativity at just the right time when she's actually planting seeds. So I just think that that's very synchronous and interesting if we observe the comet's movements in a more esoteric and archetypal way. All right, here we are. This is the date of the conjunction with Venus. This is the comet will have now moved through all of these spaces and into the heart of Virgo, past Spica, and now we're moving into November. So here is its pass by with Venus, and this is where that seed planting, I think, will take place. And here you can see Spica and Venus, and again, this is where the comet is from our perspective on Earth. Now, December 3rd, through the 7th, 2025. And the ranges are getting a little wider because obviously comet trajectories and object trajectories are estimations. But this is when the 3I-ATLAS will enter Leo. And it will be visible again before dawn in the eastern sky. So this energy feels like a birth. And it's so interesting that it's actually in Leo. And we will be able to finally see it again. And this is the constant. Once we go from Virgo to Leo, we've had the birth. So when the comet emerges from the solar veil in early December, it will be rising again in the pre-dawn sky. This is the moment of rebirth, the first cry of the interstellar seed, now visible to the human eyes after its hidden passage through the sun. Its reappearance coincides with its entrance into Leo, the cosmic cradle of incarnation. Leo is the threshold of embodiment and the radiance of pure being. And just as the cosmic healer's journey teaches, this is the phase where the soul takes its first breath, no longer drifting, but fully anchored in the body. In Leo, 3I-ATLAS embodies its galactic message, not in abstraction, but now in visibility. The object that was once invisible becomes seen. We'll probably also know a lot more about it, just as the soul that was hidden in the womb becomes the child of light. Symbolically, this is the comet's first cry, its luminous presence rising in the east, reflecting the instinctual joy, curiosity, and courage of Leo. As a cosmic infant, still carrying the memory of where it came from, but crossing the veil of forgetting as it joins the sensory world of our skies. Just as children carry intuitive memories of the other side, so too will this comet carry the imprint of another star system written into its chemistry and its trajectory. So for 3I-ATLAS moving through Leo, this is the moment when the interstellar seed reveals itself as life. The hidden intention, the gestation, the karmic weighing, the descent from source, all of it culminates here in the visible spark of cosmic birth. The comet rises in Leo as the divine child of the galaxy, a radiant messenger reminding us of our own origins, our own capacity to embody joy, and our own courage to shine. Moving on, we get to the point here where you see a comet entering Leo. And then the next slide is from Earth's perspective here. And then here you will see it if you zoom your telescopes in early in the morning before the sun rises. You probably want to get up around 2 or 3 a.m. to get everything ready. You should be able to see 3I-ATLAS between these two constellations. On December 19th, 2025 is 3I-ATLAS's closest approach to Earth. This also just really coincides with that energy of it planting seeds in Venus, moving through the soil of Earth. Don't worry, it won't get anywhere near us to hurt us, but this is the activation point. I think December 19th will be the activation point where humanity brushes with the message of this comet. It'll be close enough that its electromagnetic field, its plasma field, its orb will be very visible to us in the morning sky, or at least it should be with a high-powered telescope. There's December 19th. There it is in the sky in the heart of Leo. And here it is from our perspective. So you can see it has already gone through its path, and now it is making its exit out of our inner solar system. We are forever changed. It is forever changed. Here is where you will see it in the morning. This is 5 a.m. on Stellarium, by the way. And next year, we will have this galactic messenger, this cosmic object. This is a very important time, by the way, guys. I know these just feel like random dates right now, but when we look at a birth chart or a natal chart or a transit chart for January 9th through 11th of next year, there is a holy cosmic pileup in Sagittarius on Pluto with the sun, with Mercury, with Venus, with the moon. Okay, this is crazy. Like all these cycles are resetting within the same time frame. And within that time frame, we're also going to have 3I-ATLAS enter the stars of Cancer. So its message will sink into the collective emotional body, imprinting itself through feeling rather than sight. We won't even really be able to see it anymore. It'll be really far away by then. The gradual dimming that begins in Leo is now complete. The veil of forgetting is sealed. The interstellar seed, having reemerged visibly in Leo and carried its first light into our skies, now enters the phase where memory of its origins fade from sight. For us observing from Earth, the comet in Cancer is like watching the galactic child lose the awareness of its cosmic parentage. What was a direct remembrance of Source in Scorpio and cosmic weighing in Libra, and what was gestated in Virgo and birthed in Leo now falls into the waters of Cancer. The interstellar messenger no longer beams with obvious remembrance, but becomes a mirror of emotional imprinting. Cancer is ruled by the moon, the keeper of memory and the subconscious. In this phase of the journey, the comet's symbolism shifts from radiant birth to subtle absorption. It is no longer about the blazing display of emergence, but about the encoding of its message into the fabric of the collective subconscious. Just as the child absorbs tone, touch, and emotional resonance in its earliest years, so too does humanity absorb the energy of this comet, not through sight alone, but through the field of feeling. Esoterically, this suggests that the comet's closest brush with Earth just a few weeks before, on December 19th, was not a climax, but a seedling moment. By January, as it moves through Cancer, that seed is being imprinted emotionally, silently into our species' memory. The water sign of Cancer ensures the activation is not purely intellectual, as it sinks into the marrow of belonging, into the family bonds, into our DNA, into the way we carry and inherit love, fear, and safety across timelines. The comet in Cancer also carries the lesson that we've been outlining. What is forgotten can always be remembered. The galactic code does not vanish. It enters the veil hidden within the subconscious until it is reawakened. Some may feel prophetic dreams, others may notice heightened intuition or a sudden resensitization to emotional truth. For astrologers, for seers, for oracles, for intuitives, the passage of 3I-ATLAS through Cancer is a profound reminder that galactic memory can retreat into the unconscious only to rise again when the soul is ready. Wow. This is big stuff. This is a very unusual object. The rarity of it is staggering, and we get to witness this in our lifetime. And we can ignore it and not worry about it, or we can tease it apart and see what message it might hold for us. And I think I have one more archetype for you, and that's as the comet passes by Jupiter. So from January 28th to the 31st, 3I-ATLAS will enter Gemini, and this is the gateway out, because on the other side of Gemini is the outer galactic bands, and this is where this object will drift away from our memory. So the energy of this is the interstellar seed shifting from emotional imprinting to mental programming, becoming a mirror of the stories, the beliefs, and the dualities humanity projects onto its presence. So this galactic seed moves from the waters of emotional imprinting in Cancer into the air of intellect and duality. So there'll be studies, there'll be discussions about this object. The comet becomes a mirror of the mind's awakening, shifting from feeling-based absorption to the programming of thought, belief, and language. In this framework, Gemini is the stage where the incarnated soul begins to form its mental constructs. It absorbs information rapidly without discrimination, taking in external inputs and unquestioning truth. It symbolically highlights how galactic codes are not only felt, but also programmed into thought forms. The seed becomes subject to interpretation, naming, and categorization. This thing may have a new name by then. Its mystery is filtered through human perception. Gemini also introduces a contrast. The twins teach us that every perspective contains its opposite. So for the comet, this becomes a metaphor. Humanity will project both awe and fear onto its presence. Some will interpret it as a sign of wonder, others a harbinger of danger. The duality of perception becomes part of the imprint it leaves on our collective psyche. And that remains to be seen what else we discover here about this energy. Questions we can ask ourselves during its passage is, do we accept inherited ideas at face value? Or do we have the ability to see the dual vision, to question, to reframe, and to evolve? So the comet's trajectory becomes like an allegory for the mind itself here. As the child learns to think and speak through others, the interstellar seed is given meaning through our interpretation. The real challenge is whether we allow those first imprints to define the story, or whether we can hold the duality long enough to move beyond programming and into wisdom. So yeah, a lot. There it is. There it is. And this is the outer bands of the galactic disk. And so as we move into the later months of winter and spring, the comet will disappear and exit our solar system. And there it is. There it is entering Gemini. And then on March 16th, we'll have one more sort of encounter on its way out. It will pass within 0.36 astronomical units of Jupiter. And Jupiter is the guru. Jupiter's our spiritual teacher. Jupiter's expansion, abundance, and optimism. And so it gets to do one last high five with this beautiful planet on its way out. And it encodes galactic message into wisdom. So maybe focus on where your Jupiter is in your chart and really see what you can embody when you think about that energy, because that will be basically the last encounter with this cosmic interstellar seed as it exits our solar system. So here's the arc of the journey, just to sum it up for you if you want to take a screenshot of that journey right there. This might be helpful so we can kind of see where it is, when it's going to be. We'll revisit this. I'm sure I'm going to discuss this more as more data comes in, because I think this is a nice working template for the story that we're talking about. It certainly helped me understand what this comet may mean for us. And again, these links are all down below. But the Cosmic Healer's Journey, if you want the full download, get the book, The 13th Sign. If you want to watch the comet every day, go to Dobsonian Power. If you want up-to-date updates on the 3I-ATLAS's information, go to The Angry Astronaut. And then Wikipedia is doing a very nice job of updating it. All the photos from the various analyses are on NASA's website. So you can check out all those sources there. And I thank you so much for your time and attention with this amazing object. I mean, regardless of what you think it is, it could be artificial, it could be alien, it could be technological. All that remains to be seen. I'm not going to react with fear or wonder in either direction if that were to happen, unless it's actually happening. But such a unique thing. It's like seeing a strange animal walk into your backyard and you've taken pictures of it and you're showing it to your friends and everyone's like, I've never seen that before. That might be an entirely new animal. That's literally what's going on here. And so everyone is excited about it. There's so many theories about what it could be. And so I'll leave it to you to decide what you think it is. I personally think it's just a very interesting piece of space rock. But if it turns out to be more, then wow, what an amazing time to be alive. It is anyway, since it's such a unique object. So I thank you so much, if you're here till the end, for sticking with me. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much. Namaste.